my observer jobs. I'm out of the hot seat for 2 series, and look what happens. Just nothing. Okay, just so I don't keep everybody waiting, I do want to show you the hidden Moopy on this map because it's so cool. If you'll notice, around the map there are these little canisters that have like water in them circulating around. Most of them are empty, but this one here actually has a little guy hidden in there.
Oh.
And none of the other ones do. Now, I wasn't able to speak to the map maker directly about it, but one of the other map makers said, yeah, this guy hides Moopies in a lot of his maps. And I mean, again, if you look at all these other ones, you'll see empty, empty, Moopy. Every one of them empty. I think there's one hidden somewhere else on the map, but man, I love it when map makers have a little bit of extra fun with their maps and allow themselves to enjoy just a little bit. Steadfast, I'll pass camera control back over to you now that we've seen the important parts of the map.
Well, you caught me right there. I was looking for the other Moopy.
Yeah, you gotta go around.
Yeah, that's the trick right there. And we are seeing a pretty standard opening from both players. We didn't see gas first from Future, which I would note is something he was very comfortable going for. I talked about the precision of his builds, and with some players, you know, they're just a little obviously they're very tight with their build orders, but you know, there's not quite that level of razor sharpness that some players have. But Future, absolutely one of those razor sharp players. Oh,
no question. And of course, it goes. It's worth saying that Future, of course, is one of the Terran players on Alpha X. Yeah, nice escape there by DisK. That probe is going to get away. Very cute. Anyway, Future, one of those Alpha X players who is on one of those Terran Alpha X players. And if you look at the lineup for this event, actually, the 3 Terran player of the 4 Terran players that qualified for the event, 3 of them were from Team Alpha X. So obviously some really strong NA Terrans in this team, and there's something to be said for all these players competing with each other and having that team atmosphere, even though obviously they don't live in a team house or anything. Just having practice partners, being able to talk about their build orders and improve all together as one really makes them very strong opponents. So no surprise that Future has these very crisp build orders and is prepared for everything he needs to go up against.
Yeah, absolutely. Even one step further, Future is kind of cultivated, or you know, they've been friends for a while, but I know that there's a small little community in North America of just a good number of solid players that all work together, they all practice together, and yeah, they kind of act as a bit of a groupthink, which to me is a big part of why the European region is so powerful right now. Is that they are so good about sharing strategies and interacting with one another and just bouncing ideas off of each other.
Absolutely. This game, you know, it's not like chess where there have been 10,000 books written about it and everybody in the world has access to top level information about what's going on. These players just button their heads together and figuring out what to do and developing these new strategies and build orders, and the meta shifting so drastically and dramatically over the course of just a few weeks, a few months. It makes it such a strong play, as you said, especially for that European region where the players are known to just I don't know if they go to the sauna and just talk about it while they're naked in a sauna, if they're in Finland, or if they go to the Eiffel Tower and have some absinthe together and talk about it if they're French. Whatever it is, they do a really nice job of building up the broad base of knowledge that they have and sharing it around. Blinkstalker build here from DisK as the third base comes down from him. I love Blinkstalkers against Terran. Of course, if you see a Twilight Council down, that's pretty much the only option against a Terran player. Glaive to Depth's not really worth it this early in the game, and Charge Lot's very, very rare to see out first. Early Forge, though, from DisK, and he must feel like he's in a good position, Steadfast, if he's willing to invest more into upgrades and that Forge.
Yeah, I think so. He didn't go for the craziest fast third base. It is still pretty quick, only off of 2 gateways, but yeah, going for that Forge, yeah, it's a little bit of a stylistic difference. Now, he is going to see the 3 racks of his opponent. Of course, getting that Forge, you can potentially have upgrades ready to go by the time the attack comes in, but it all depends on when Future is going to move out, and at the very least, we'll probably see at least a little bit of time where there's an upgrade lead for Future with that +1 attack.
No question, no question. A couple Stalkers out on the map now to sort of ascertain map control, and +1 getting started up right away, which, as you said, going to allow allow DisK to sort of stay on the front foot in this game. We've got +1/+1, or pardon me, not +1/+1 on the other side though. Future with just +1 weapons and no second engineering bay. That means as soon as his stim finishes, as soon as his combat shield finishes, he might be looking to push out a little bit. He's got plenty of Marines on the map already, 21 of them down, and I think he's ready to put some pressure here. A little bit of pressure on the third base, by the way, at that 6 o'clock location, forcing DisK away from his third base. That Raven dropping an auto turret, but only 2 kills. But these Stalkers are really the problem right now, just outside the natural of Future, and they're trying to get a couple pot shots off on both the bunker and maybe blinking up into the main once Future moves out.
Yeah, that would be a really annoying little thing to deal with, but Future already kind of on top of it. He's going to scan, and he should be able to get this Observer. Oh, even getting a Stalker right there, a little bit unexpected from DisK. He did not expect those units to be there. Future, though, he pounced right on that, and, well, he is now going to gun it across the map, and he is going to... Oh, wow, that was very good reaction time from DisK. He almost just lost 5 Stalkers. Blink was on cooldown. I heard the blink.
Yes, and that Observer snipe's so important, even more important, I think most people understand, than the single Stalker that went down, preventing DisK from pressuring into the main base, and Future's going to jump on this. Widowmine shots being dodged by Future. He's making sure there's no friendly fire taken, and now it's 62 army supply to 15. DisK was really hoping to get some pressure done with those Blink Stalkers on the other side of the map, completely getting denied by Future here, and this looks like it's just going to be a rollover from Future. I don't think DisK can warp in fast enough to defend against this.
No, he can't, and a gateway and the robotics facility get depowered, and as that happens, Future takes game number 1, DisK forced to GG, and, well, there wasn't anything really special about it, per se.
No.
But it was a tight, crisp build order, and Future really jammed that one home. He really just, you know, asserted himself. Yeah, game number 1.
Steadfast, I don't want to brown nose you too much, because heaven knows I like you, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm just pumping you up on stream to make you seem like a better caster than you are or something, but I feel like every game you make some incredible observation, and then at the end of the game I'm able to say, you know what, Steadfast? You nailed it. You told us at the very beginning of that series, what did you say about Future as you introduced him? You said he does tight, crisp timings, that his build orders are solid, and that he spends a lot of time workshopping to make sure he is on the money all the entire game. And what did we see from Future there? An immaculate +1 stim and combat shields timing, able to push away the attack from his opponent DisK, and DisK was unable to get anything done. And on the back of that +1 timing, Future just rolled him over. Nothing special, nothing sneaky, just good solid defense into a good solid timing push. So I expect we'll see even more of that from Future in the next game. Here on Romanticide LE, but again, just great observation, Steadfast. It's almost like you're almost good at what you're doing here, casting StarCraft for DreamHack.
Well, you know, I've played 1 or 2 games in my life, so I've a little bit of experience. But you made a really great point about that Observer snipe. The fact that DisK wasn't able to blink up into the main base meant that the push could not be delayed even like a second.
No,
and that was a really important point.
Yeah, and especially when there are no tanks in the push, right? That's usually what you want to do, is snipe a tank, or at least force a tank to siege up to try and drive those Stalkers away. Nothing from DisK. Just Future looking so solid. Let's hop into game number 2 here on Romanticide LE. Spawning in the bottom left-hand side, it's our blue Terran player from Team Alpha X. His name is Future.
And his opponent, currently down 1-0, needs to bring it back. It is the red Protoss player from Psystorm Gaming. Give it up for DisK. And, well, there's a part of me that's rooting for Future just on the concept of hoping that we see another 2-0 just to keep that record going in group A. I think that would just be so funny.
Oh, man, can you imagine if this group, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if at the end of the day, if every single player was either 2-1 or 1-2, so if Scarlet lost her game and who's the bottom of the group here? Is it
it's Vindicta.
If Vindicta won his game and Scarlet lost her game, God, that'd be so freaking funny. Anyway, we'll have to see what happens here in game number 2. But yeah, Gateway and Cyber on the high ground there for DisK. Maybe a little bit later. Oh no, there it is. The expansion going down pretty quickly here, so he'll be in good shape.
Yeah, just kind of something that for a while we saw Protoss players pretty much exclusively go Gateway and then a Nexus.
Yeah.
But recently, it's become a lot more common to go Gate, Cybernetics Core, and then get that Nexus.
Right.
Regardless, you cut probes during that time, so it's not the end of the world. We're not talking about a crazy timing difference.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's 12 seconds, give or take. Because usually the Cybernetics Core finishes at around 212, you Chrono Boost out your first unit, and that's enough time for a Reaper to sometimes get some damage done.
Right.
If you don't have that first Chrono Boosted unit off of the back of a Gateway Cyber.
Yeah, exactly correct. And that's something that a lot of build orders really have to think about is there a knock-on effect to the choices that I'm making right now? So if I'm gonna have to cut probes anyway, that means that like later in the game I'm not hamstringing myself, right? Because if I skip a probe now, obviously if you skip a probe early in the game, it means much less income over time. But if you're gonna skip those probes anyway, that just means you're delaying everything by 12 seconds and not like compounding the effect over the course of the entire game, which is why especially Protoss openers can be so tricky to really game out and figure out, because you gotta see, am I doing long-term damage to my economy, or is this like a short-term thing that I'm gonna have to happen anyway, and I'll catch up a little bit later. Interesting choice from Future though here. We've got that proxied starport out, which looks like we're gonna see some Hellions into the main base of DisK here, Steadfast.
Yes, that is certainly looking to be the case. We've seen this build twice now.
Yeah.
In PvTs on this map.
Yep.
Well, actually, they were both by Masa in different TVPs, but just very funny that it seems to be the case on this map. It doesn't look like Terran players are too happy and confident with this map.
Those Alpha X Terran players getting their heads together again and saying, hey, this is a strong build here. Can we make it work? But also a strong build, I gotta say, Blink Stalker on 4 gates. That's about as bread and butter as Protoss builds get and has been forever. So that does mean there will be plenty of Stalkers on the map to defend against this. It's all going to come down to the rotations, and look at this. Already DisK moving into position with those Stalkers, moving into position with the Adepts, sees this coming a mile away and pulls the probes. As long as those probes don't stop moving, he's going to be fine, but he's got to keep those probes split up. Really nicely done by DisK there. Beautiful stuff.
Wow. He did not lose a single probe right there. That is incredible.
Wow.
That is unheard of. And it looks like he just wanted to get that one gateway at the front to fully wall. I thought this was going to be a 4-gate Blink Stalker pressure as well, but looks like DisK, yeah, he just wanted to get the full wall, not have to worry about Hellions running by, and then could focus purely on the concept of, well, what we see and what he doesn't see now, which is this Hellion drop. Ooh. Oh, man, this could be a little bit problematic.
Man, I love the continued pressure here from Future, following that sage advice. If at first you don't kill probes, kill again. He's getting in there finally, 5 kills, and I will say a bit of an unusual choice from DisK to focus fire down the Hellions. Usually if you have that many Stalkers out, you can micro your probes away well enough that then you can focus fire onto the medevac, ensuring that eventually the medevac and all the Hellions will go down. But in this case, just focusing on the Hellions just to drive him away. Maybe he's not quite as confident in his ability to micro these probes. We've seen him with, I've seen him leave the probes in one position for a little bit longer than he might otherwise like. So far, though, this is really great from DisK. He's got that medevac trapped up in the top corner, and of course, Future has made the critical mistake of not playing Protoss, so he can't recall out of there, and his Liberator gets chased away. Steadfast, at the end of the day, it looks like this aggression more or less over. Has DisK held well enough, losing only 5 probes?
You know, normally I'd say yes, but Future's SCV production has been so on point. And then that Liberator comes in, gets a little bit of lost mining time. Future's somehow very far ahead in this game. I don't really know how, though. Because like you said, it feels like this was a solid defense.
Yeah, well, one thing that's happened here is that obviously DisK's third base delayed just a little bit. I think he probably wanted to go for an earlier third base if you're just on 3 gates and he delayed his tech a little bit. But also Future cut a couple corners here, and only just now has Barracks 4 and 5 coming down now that the third base is finished up. So he's just a little bit slower on his infrastructure, which means he's been able to pump out a couple extra units. So I think that's the only real difference, but you're absolutely correct in that it does seem like DisK has defended really well, but Future comes out on the other side with really solid macro, and Steadfast, it comes back to this main point we've been making about Future. If you have no takeaway about Future other than that, crisp build orders. Let's see some C space R space I space S space P in the chat. Future, crisp for sure. Do you know the comedian Mitch Hedberg?
Oh, I'm a big fan of Mitch Hedberg.
One of my favorite jokes of his is where he says the best job in the world would be the Kitchen Appliance Naming Institute, where he says have you heard this one?
I don't think I have.
Oh, it's lovely. Mitch Hedberg says the best job in the world is if you work at the Institute for Naming Kitchen Appliances, because all you do is take what the thing does and add to the end of it. What's that thing do? It refrigerates. That's a refrigerator. What's that thing do? It keeps stuff crisp. That's the crisper. I'm going on lunch. It's a wonderful joke. But Future, certainly one of the crispest players we've seen here. He's going to have a great timing again this game. This difference, though, is that it's going to hit a little bit later, and it's going to have +1/+1. Last game, of course, he stayed on 1 NG Bay and went not all in, but with a really strong +1 timing. This game, 5 barracks, 2 upgrades, stim and combat shields, and a couple tanks mixed in as well. Going to be a much more robust army from Future. Does DisK have more than he had last time to defend, though?
I wouldn't necessarily say. Well, yes, he does. The game state is a little bit different.
Sure.
But it's. I don't know if it's enough more. We do look at the army value right now. Future does have a little bit of a lead, and as you said, that 1-1 finishing up is a really big power spike for him against. I do believe, no upgrades just yet for DisK. His +1 attack isn't even finished yet. Extended Thermal Lance will be done. Oh, I love this. A couple probing Marauders right here. But it's, this is going to be tough to deal with. I do also want to highlight really nice little Sim City at the third base.
Oh, yeah.
For Future.
It's those little things, those tiny plays that seem insignificant. Even at the time you're doing it, you're like, this is never going to matter. And then when the Zealot run by the south happens, you're so happy you've done it. It's going to buy a couple extra seconds to prevent those Zealots from getting in. I love the fake drop into the main, trying to draw some of the army out here. The tank's going to get some huge shots off on DisK. Oh, God, if you're a Protoss player, look away. I'm going to open up the army supply graph. Look at that army size graph, a huge chunk out of DisK's army, and now the drop actually goes for Future again. Steadfast, looking very, very dire for our Protoss player.
Yeah, I think this might actually be checkmate potentially right here. Oh, really nice force fields. Yeah. As I say that, DisK is like, I still have an army and sentries. But this feels really difficult. 8 probes already going down. Robotics facility, I think now that's going to be 3 gateways going down, and the Nexus is probably going to fall. This is looking a little bit like curtains to me.
Man, I just want to point out how it seems like you're like, wow, a big drop into the natural. That's super aggressive from Future. I want to point out how defensive he's being as well. Look at this thing. He left a bunch of Marauders and Marines back with his tanks so that if he got flanked, he had some bio there to defend, to buy him some time to get his army back together. Like, what? Wow, that Zealot's so lucky.
That Zealot's seen some shit.
He's going to have a 1,000-yard stare by the end of this game. I love it. I love it. Yeah, but Future just being, it looks like he's playing a hyper-aggressive style, and you're like, dang, he's wasting a lot of, or he's being so aggressive, that's so risky. He's actually leaving a lot back home, and that attack was honestly pretty measured from him. But this attack looks like it could be the end. These tanks still up, Steadfast.
Yeah, and they're getting a lot of damage done, and 3 of them do still survive. Now, battery overcharge helps a lot to keep these units alive. Oh, these transferring probes. 5 of them going down in the blink of an eye. And well behind all this, 2-2 is on the way for Future. He's continuing Viking production to deal with these Colossi. And DisK, while he's doing an admirable job of holding on, ultimately... Oh, unless he can get a big disruptor shot here, it feels just so difficult for him.
Yeah, it does feel difficult, and DisK